given
wait.
opinion.
Wait.
Oh, are you gonna?
The 49ers just signed Josh Dobbs.
Oh,
That's
hell
actually
yeah!
that's
I
actually
like that.
so we
I like
we
that.
were we were just talking
I
about,
feel
right?
like I was kind of saying like a guy like that. Ooh, I like that.
That's actually that's not bad, right? It's not bad.
Mm-hmm.
Veteran,
He's the neuroscientist guy who did good
astronaut.
for a second. Yeah. He
So
did really good with the Vikings for a few games. I know that he kind of came crashing down because there was a lot of hype about him, and then it kind of went opposite. But I feel like that's like him, like a Minshew, like those guys are like, in my opinion, that's the perfect. Even my dad has talked about this a lot, and I know he's on a different team now, and I don't mean to bring him up because I think it's kind of buzzwordy, but even like a Jimmy Garoppolo, like these guys are like wonderful guys, like guys who maybe can't stay healthy or can't keep up good play consistently, but you know that you can rely on them to understand the game, understand what they're going to be asked to do, and perform from anywhere from like 1 to 3 games. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not anticipating always having like the everyone wants, everyone's like, well, Brock Purdy was the third string and came in and took you to the Super Bowl. And you're like, the reason that was a big deal is because the reason that was a big deal was because that never happens in the NFL. I think Steph is getting some food. She told me she ordered it. But I'm gonna add a little banner, Josh Dobbs. But I'm excited about this move. I feel like he did really well with the Vikings last year.
Yeah, I'm like I was so literally as we're going live, like I was doing a thumbnail for Zac Wilson, and now I got to do a new thumbnail for Josh Dobbs.
There we go. I know. Look at everyone. They were trying to psych us out with that.
But yeah, I'm with you. I like the move. I mean, obviously he's a very smart guy. It's interesting, right? Because he's had like a crazy Linsanity run in every team he was with last season. He was with the Browns first. Then he, and obviously that wasn't going to work out because they have Deshaun Watson.
Everyone was crushing the Browns because he ended up doing so well with the Vikings. People were like, "Oh, you idiots! Like, what did you do?"
Well, then he went to the Cardinals. Remember? So he played with the Cardinals. He did a pretty decent job.
Yeah. I remember.
He played against the Niners. He had a pretty good game. And Kyle loves to sign guys with the 49ers
who do well against him, right?
Always. So it's so funny. But yeah, I mean, I think they feel like they can do something with him. Again, he's going to be a backup, or he's going to compete for the backup position. Poor Brandon Allen, like he's probably we'll see what happens. If Josh Dobbs looks good, maybe you could even trade him, before the cut down to 53. I don't know where they keep 3, right? Because I think the 49ers kept 3 guys during the season. Remember, they put in the rule of the emergency quarterback. So having a 3rd guy, I think, is probably good. They want to do that. So yeah, this is a solid quarterback room.
He'd also be a great guy. Like, I'm sure he wants to be a starter, so maybe this isn't a thing that can happen. But if you could lock down a guy like that for like just to have him as your backup quarterback for multiple years to come, why isn't that happen for a team? Why hasn't he just stayed? Is it because he wants to be a starter, so he probably tries to keep going places? But yeah, right now it's just he's signed a one year veteran deal. But I mean, I think a guy like him is like, to me, that's such a prototype of what you want in your backup quarterback. Really smart dude, a dude who seems really personable, that guys like. He does well in the locker room. Doesn't, maybe he wants to be a starter, but doesn't have that attitude of like, I'm going to come in here, try to steal your job or anything like that. Feels like he'll be very respectful. I love that move for the 49ers. And if something that, knock on so much wood, you don't want this to happen. But if Brock Purdy gets injured just for, a small amount of time, I imagine that Kyle Shanahan feels confident that he could coach a guy like Josh Dobbs, and with the great, players around him, that the 49ers could squeak out a couple games.
Yeah, I think it's a solid backup move. I like it a lot.
I like it a lot too. Okay, that's exciting. And people are saying, rather have Dobbs than than Zac Wilson's. I see. Dobbs
Me too.
has, zero draft capital, so that's good. I agree with that. I want QBs who have some upside in the right environment. 49ers media wanted Zac Wilson. Kind of interesting with that one. I didn't, but Bundy agrees with me though. He would rather have Dobbs. Neuro astronaut, which was a good take on on me not knowing exactly what he did. And then really quickly, I wanted to address this one. I'm Italian. This isn't my fault. I have to talk with my hands. It's in my genetics. You guys should see my dad. I'm also always screaming. I think it's because I'm deaf in one ear, so I like literally can't hear myself. My friend, I wonder if she's watching, but I've been on and off at her house for quite some time. She actually got me headphones, and she said, or not headphones, but what is it, like when you can hear louder, better? Like old people have them?
Hearing aid?
She got me hearing aid. It looks just
Why?
like because I'm literally deaf in one ear. And she said I talk quieter with it because like I don't realize that I'm screaming all the time. But I also think I just always scream. Like my dad's natural chat, like we're just Italian, so his natural chatting is screaming, which is really funny because if we're having any sort of normal conversation, I never realize it. I'm like, oh, this is just how my dad talks. But if I feel like he's angry at me, I'm like, you're screaming. And he's like, this is just my voice. I'm like, no, you don't love me. So that was a little TMI for you guys. My dad's also sick right now, so everyone should say prayers for him. I called him today and he sounded like he was dying. But anyway, he's not actually. Right. That was a bit dramatic. He sounded like that. Like I'm just saying, he's always screaming. He was actually very like soft spoken. So, then anyone who's a QB working for that number spot is gonna do whatever it takes to get that spot. I like that there would be competition in that QB room. I feel like 49er fans are a little bit too obsessed with like QB controversy and competition. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I think
we're just so used to that now. It's toxic.
I think the 49ers were right to kind of trade Trey Lance away and like have a guy and stick with him and empower him. I think that uniting a team around one guy is really important and has actually shown to be really fruitful for the organization. And this isn't even a Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch thing. This is like Steve Young and Joe Montana freaking 49er fans thing. So I'm not mad at anyone for saying that. And then I think Nathan might have just joined. He said the 49ers have signed QB Josh Dobbs. Whoop, whoop. Nathan, if you go back like 10 minutes, we gave our whole reaction to this. But moral of the story is we had just described what we thought a perfect backup quarterback was, and then he was announced and he fit that description.
we spoke him into existence.
They did it for us. The front office was tuning into our stream, and then we're like, all right, we'll give him this. So, but thank you so much for joining us and letting us know.